Hey everyone, it's Rita. Welcome to my channel. So today, as you can probably tell by the title, we are going to be doing the very already famous eyeshadow palette tag that Allie Glines and Samantha March started. I have seen a couple of these videos. My favorite ones were of course Allie's, and I also saw Jessica Braun's, which I really liked, and Morgan Turner. So from Morgan, I actually got the questions off of her video from her description box, and I just wanted to do this tag. Eyeshadow palettes are probably one of my favorite makeup items. I have to say, I don't use eyeshadow palettes as much as I should, especially with the amount that I have. I don't want to say that I have a huge collection compared to people here on YouTube. I want to say I have a huge collection compared to my friends and compared to, I want to say, the average makeup lover. That being said, I think that my collection is pretty manageable, but also I don't use it as much as I should. Anyway, I'm just repeating myself, but I am pretty excited with the picks that I had. I feel like I didn't see a lot of people using or mentioning these palettes, or if they did, they were like in different categories. I don't know, let's just get right into it. Again, I have here all of my questions. Thank you, Morgan, for posting this on your description box, because that's where I got my my questions from. So for the very first question, this is gonna be, show your newest palette. So this one, I had to bring two of them out because there's been a lot of sales going on between the Sephora sale and then Nordstrom, Saks. They had a bunch of beauty sales. That being said, surprisingly, I didn't buy a lot of eyeshadows this time, but I only picked two of them, which I picked literally on the same haul. And these were two from Tom Ford. So I got the Honeymoon palette, and I've got the, I believe it was the Nude Deep. I'm gonna go ahead and open it. Yeah, so I got Nude Deep and I got Honeymoon. So these are two of my newest. I had to include both of them because they are both like on the same, literally on the same time that I bought them. So here they go. This is Nude Deep and this is Honeymoon. These are not new by any means. They're actually pretty old at this point from the Tom Ford collection. I've been eyeing them for years, and then whenever I saw they were 25% off at Saks and Nordstrom, I believe, I think I picked one from Saks and one from Nordstrom. I just knew I had to pick them up. I love Tom Ford palettes, so these are my two newest. After the newest, of course, it comes the show your oldest palette. Please don't judge me. This might be a little bit gross, and the worst thing, again, don't judge me, I used it today to create this eye look. So I'm talking about the Lorac Pro 2. So this is the cooler version of the original. I actually never picked up the original. I had the naked one from Urban Decay, so I didn't think that this was going to be something that I wanted. But whenever this came out, I got super excited. So here is a beautiful kind of like more cooler tone array of shades. I went today for the more cooler tones because cool tones is not something that I used a lot. So I just wanted to use the navy, the silver shade, and that's pretty much what it looks like. I absolutely love it. I've had it for, I want to say, this was released in 2014, and that's when I picked it up. So almost, what, 6 years? I've had this for 6 years. I know it sounds gross, but I actually do spray it from time to time with alcohol. I love this palette. I think out of my Loracs, it's probably my favorite. We have show your most expensive palette. So I had to kind of like think about it. Money-wise, it is definitely one of them, but value-wise, I would say it's gonna be a Tom Ford. So my most expensive palette, the one that I've spent the most money in, is of course my one and only Pat McGrath. This palette, it retails for $125 plus taxes, so you end up paying $130 something. This one is, I haven't even said, this one is the Mothership, the Rose one. So, okay, it's called the Divine Rose, there we go. Here's what it looks like. Of course, it's super famous. Everyone loves this palette. My most expensive one, money-wise. But if you think about most expensive one, I would have to say they are the Tom Ford palettes. These ones I didn't buy full price, but I do have two of them that I've bought full price. These ones are retail for $88 plus taxes for 4 shades. This one is $125 plus taxes for 10 shades. So if you think about it, it is really more expensive than Tom Ford. Let's move on now to the other side, the way other side of the spectrum of pricing. So the next question is show your least expensive palette, or exactly it says show your most affordable palette. And I literally had to Google prices because I wasn't sure. I don't own a lot of drugstore palettes. Nothing against them, they're awesome. Prime example is this beautiful Rimmel eyeshadow palette. This one is in the Magnify Eyes, the Crimson edition. So this is absolutely gorgeous. Just, you know, the color array is beautiful. It is something that's completely up my alley. I love neutrals and I love pink shades. So this is just a dream palette for me. I really like it. The shades in here are super pigmented and they are very easy to blend. I mean, you would not think that you're paying almost $8 for this palette. Next was a category that it was kind of difficult for me to find. This one is show your most colorful palette. It is kind of hard for me because most of my palettes are neutrals. So this is going to be the Urban Decay Born to Run. This one you might not think of colorful, but for my collection and the kind of shades that I go for, this is definitely a rainbow for me. It has anything from light browns, orange, purples, pinks, blue, greens. So this has got to be my most colorful palette. I don't use it as often, and whenever I do, I go for literally the browns and goldy shades. I really do like it, and I've created some looks that I really like with this palette. Definitely something that I need to look more into because these two next categories were super easy because they are distinctively smaller and bigger in my collection. So the next category is show your smallest palette, and that has to be without a doubt my sort of newest Natasha Denona addition to my collection. This one is in the mini retro palette. So this is teeny tiny palette. The name says that it's like the mini version, so this is what this looks like. My mini retro, which I just purchased whenever it was released, not so long ago, maybe like 2 months ago. And then for the other is going to be show your biggest palette. And I had to just look at my collection and I knew this has to be my biggest one. And this one is the Tati palette. So the Tati Beauty palette, just for comparison, I'm gonna show you real quick the difference in these palettes. So here we go. Here is the smallest one and the Tati, my biggest palette. So you can tell the difference is this next category was so easy. So show your palette with the best memory. Without a doubt. The palette that I used on my wedding day. So I did my own makeup for my wedding day. I did not want anyone to touch my makeup because I wanted to feel and look like myself. So for my wedding day, I used I always say do it yourself, but your customized MAC palette. So this is the palette that I used. Let me just, it's going to completely, here we go. So here is my most memorable with my best memories. Another palette. Super easy category, show the palette or your palette worth the hype. Literally opened up my drawer, I'm like, the hype is real in this palette and I absolutely love it. And that has got to be my Pillow Talk Instant Eye Palette by Charlotte Tilbury. This was released earlier during this year, I believe, or yeah, I'm pretty sure this year. And I just fell in love. Like as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to pick it up. Again, very neutral, pinky, more salmon-y shades. Very wearable for your everyday. If you are a pink lover like myself, this palette is so good. It is definitely worth the hype. It is definitely worth every penny. It is $75, so it's not something to just, you know, sneeze about. It is a little bit expensive, but for her line, it is very worth it because her quads are $53, okay, and this one is $75. So for the not so happy end of this same kind of like category, it says show the palette not worth the hype. This is going to be something very personal, and I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me, and I know a lot of people did not agree on my video when I posted this review. But not worth the hype at all for me is going to be the Pat McGrath. So this one comes again into this list for me as not a very good category. To me, this was not worth the hype. I know people were going crazy and it sold out really fast. I actually bought it as soon as it was released. Pat McGrath does very colorful eyeshadow palettes. Not really my cup of tea. Not because I don't like them, just because I know I'm not gonna get as much use out of them, especially with the price tag. So whenever she brought out this palette, I knew I had to pick it up because the shades were gonna be so, like, they are so up my alley. Just beautiful, kind of like more neutral, pinkish, mauvey shades. I knew I had to pick it up. Sadly, I barely ever touch it. I probably have used it 2 or 3 times. And yes, I do like the eye look that I come up with when I use this palette, but it's not my favorite. And for $125, if it's not my favorite, it should not be this expensive. We have show your favorite palette from a favorite brand. Okay. This was easy peasy because, or maybe even if you are familiar with my channel, I've mentioned this so much, especially in my latest videos, if I can talk. My favorite brand has easily become, and very rapidly become, Charlotte Tilbury. So without a doubt, Charlotte Tilbury has become my favorite brand, you know, around, like in general in makeup. Everything I've tried from her brand, I really love. So I feel like I was kind of indecisive between this as my favorite or this as my favorite. But being completely realistic, I grab more, or I go more for my little quad, the Pillow Talk. Same family, the Pillow Talk family, which I know a lot of people are tired of it. I love it. Keep it coming. I absolutely love them. Pillow Talk palette, super famous, where I feel like gave Charlotte Tilbury that next step of people raving about her brand, people really loving the whole Pillow Talk lipstick, the brand now with the little quad that came up after the lipstick, and then this one came up. So anyway, I think this is going to be my favorite palette of her line, which is my favorite brand in general. I just love this quad. I promise you, every single time that I use it, my makeup just looks so beautiful. I almost forgot a category. I totally skipped it. This one was way up there. So it was Show Your Everyday Palette. I kind of struggled with this and I was gonna pick 2 of them, but I just wanted to make up my mind. So this is going to be something that's recent purchase. I think I got this around January whenever it was released. I cannot remember at this point. But I thought, and I still think, that it is perfect for every day. Perfect for everyday easy day looks, perfect for night looks, perfect for every occasion and for literally everyone regardless of your liking of makeup. I feel like this is the perfect starter palette, the perfect palette to just have in your collection in general. Too much anticipation. But this is the Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes. So this is their newest addition to the collection in general, to the brand, but especially to the Born This Way line. This palette, just looking at it, you would think, oh my goodness, that's so boring, like the same neutral shades. But there is something about this palette that just speaks to my soul. It is very beautiful. It's kind of like the perfect mix of a very brown neutral shade with a little bit of pink, with a little bit of touch of more smoky shades that literally, okay, it's gonna be really hard to say. If all my palettes were to disappear, except for this one, I think I would be content with only owning this palette. Okay, so for the very last category, we've got Show Your Most Used Palette. Okay, so I did mention at the very beginning of the video that I sadly don't use my eyeshadow palettes as much as I should. But way back in the day, when I didn't have a lot of this, or I didn't have half of this collection, I would always only dream of having so many eyeshadow palettes. I had a couple of them, and this one is probably my most used. I used it all the time, and I loved every single look that I created with this eyeshadow palette. Very basic, very neutral, very old at this point, but I still think it's a beautiful addition to my collection, and I honestly don't think I could part with it. So this is the Too Faced Natural Eyes. This still in the tin palette. They have not reformulated, but changed the packaging since then. It's just the perfect, very basic neutral palette. I know I said the perfect one is this one, but I feel like this one is as basic as you can get for a neutral palette. I really do like it. Looking at it, I still think that it's a beautiful, gorgeous palette. Again, I don't really use it as much anymore. It is kind of old. I'm not gonna get rid of it, and I still think it's in perfect condition. If I use it like tomorrow, it'd still be perfect. It has no weird smells. It's still really good. The quality is amazing. I really, okay, you guys, so this is pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if any of these palettes you own, if any of these palettes you like, if the old ones, older ones that I have, you still have in your collection. And show me if you did this video. Just put a comment down below with your video. I would love to watch it. And tell me which one would be your favorite, like your favorite out of this is probably my most interesting category that I was really happy, or I would really like to know which one is yours. Which one is your favorite brand, the favorite palette of your favorite brand, because that is probably something that I would really like to look into. But anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun filming this and just going through my collection, looking at all my palettes, and coming up with this little array of perfect little palettes that I absolutely love. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel before you leave, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!